Hello and welcome to this webinar on community choice aggregation. My name is Ben Frevert and I'm working with the Rochester People's Climate Coalition to bring you this presentation. So what is community choice aggregation, or CCA? It's a new method, in New York anyway, for communities to procure energy, and it was authorized by New York's Public Service Commission in April of 2016. This procurement method is primarily aimed at residents and small businesses, as opposed to municipal electricity supply. Once in place, a CCA provides opportunity for the communities to leverage bulk buying power of all the participants to secure lower prices and longer-term contracts. It shifts the control of selecting default electric suppliers from the state to the local community. This approach can also promote a transition to greater use of renewable energy. The benefits of CCA include reduced rates and reduced exposure to price volatility through fixed rates over longer contracts. In addition, putting CCA in place can help to position municipalities for state funding programs such as clean energy communities. It has the potential to aid the local economy through an increase in local renewable energy development and associated jobs. It can also improve the appeal of a community to businesses and others considering relocating. To help explain CCA, I want to show a short video.
Question for local government. How often do you get an opportunity to offer your citizens a program that will save them money, give them more choices, and not cost a penny? No cost to the municipality with benefits to the community. Probably not very often, right? Well, community choice aggregation, or CCA, may just be the answer. But what is it? Community choice aggregation goes by different names in different states, but the program is more or less the same wherever it's available. In deregulated energy states, governments pass state legislation that grants municipal leaders the ability to pass local laws, allowing them to aggregate all of the residential and very often small commercial energy consumers in their community. By aggregating or combining your home's energy usage with all your neighbors in the community, economies of scale are created, generating enormous buying power for consumers and increasing the likelihood of getting much lower energy prices than would otherwise have been possible by shopping on your own. Aggregation programs only impact the supply portion of your bill, while the other half, the delivery portion, remains exactly the same. This delivery portion of the bill is where the utility makes its money, not the supply, and that's why the utility doesn't mind a bit about CCAs. It has no impact on their bottom line. By starting a community choice aggregation program and aggregating the residents in your community, the energy supply portion of the bill is reduced. Budget stability for participants is created, and the local utility company continues to provide a single bill to ratepayers for both delivery and supply. Just a single bill. The benefits: protection over volatile energy prices, a simple, low fixed price that provides budget stability and savings to residents in the community. We can even provide a renewable green option for your community. Community choice aggregation lets you take control of your community's energy rates and pass the benefits onto your constituents. With hundreds of CCAs in operation.
As noted, CCA is new in New York, but there is some history behind the PSC authorization. The PSC first approved a CCA pilot project in Westchester County that formed under the name Westchester Power. With input from the Westchester project, the PSC authorized CCA for the rest of New York in April of 2016. Westchester Power is currently using 3-year contracts, and many municipalities are now supplied with 100% renewable energy. Not all forms of municipal government can put a CCA in place. While villages, towns, and cities can authorize a CCA, counties cannot. This is, of course, because counties encompass villages, towns, and cities, and the impetus behind CCA was to push the flexibility down to the local level. Counties are encouraged, however, to help support formation of CCAs in the communities within their boundaries. Villages, towns, and cities can also work together to form a single CCA, and that's where the discussion in the greater Monroe County area seems to be headed. For example, the Westchester Power CCA includes 20 municipalities and has 110,000 customers enrolled. Next, I'd like to share a bit about the scope of a CCA program. First, a CCA can aggregate electric supply, gas supply, or both. A CCA can incorporate energy efficiency and distributed energy generation, like shared solar. Monies raised by CCAs for administration of the program cannot be used for other activities. An implementation of a CCA must provide participants plenty of opportunity to opt out of the program. There is also some flexibility for CCA programs that will need to be addressed during the planning stage. First, a CCA can be set up to enroll customers on an opt-out basis. This means that they will be participating in the program unless they opt out. The Sustainable Westchester CCA uses an opt-out approach and reports about 7% of customers have opted out. Customers who already have third-party supply contracts with an energy services company are not automatically included, but must be permitted to opt in. Also, a CCA can choose to procure 100% of its energy from renewable sources. There is also some flexibility in how a CCA is administered. Municipalities can administer a CCA themselves, or the CCA can be administered by a third party under contract. As you might have guessed, this is what we are recommending in part because this seems to be more appropriate for a multi-agency CCA. The costs associated with administering a CCA program can be included in the rates paid by customers. This then results in the CCA administrator being paid by the supplier in accordance with the terms of the supply contract. The Westchester program uses this approach. There are a couple of other important elements that municipalities considering CCA should think about. First, as I hinted at already, a CCA is one of the 10 high-impact action items that a municipality can undertake to qualify for the Clean Energy Communities program. Also, it is important to note that the local utility does not lose business when a CCA is operating within their service territory because the CCA only addresses the supply portion of customers' bills. The utility's role regarding delivery is unchanged. At a very high level, the steps needed for a municipality to implement a CCA are to first enact a local law to enable CCA. This enabling step only opens the door to allow CCA but does not obligate the municipality to implement it. There will be several subsequent decision points in the process where a municipality will consider whether or not to move forward. Next, the municipality or group of municipalities needs to determine how they want to administer the CCA and then put that in place. This means either conducting the administration duties in-house or working with a third party to begin the planning phase. Following on the steps for a municipality are actions specific to the organization administering the CCA. If the municipality chooses to conduct the administration themselves, then this applies internally. Otherwise, these steps are what the third-party administrator would begin to do. First, an implementation plan needs to be developed. This must be submitted to and approved by the PSC. There are also rigorous public involvement requirements to inform the community about CCA. This is particularly important because of the opt-out treatment already mentioned. There is also a need to coordinate with the utility. This is focused mostly on acquiring data about the amount of electricity expected to be procured under the CCA contract. Next, an RFP for purchase of electric supply must be prepared and issued, and that process managed. And, of course, the response is then evaluated. If all goes well, this would result in one or more executed contracts. This is one of the decision points where the involved municipalities can choose to move forward or change course. This entire process and subsequent contracting efforts will need to follow the CCA rules set forth by the PSC. And finally, the CCA should consider distributed generation opportunities. This can help to bring local generation facilities to the community. So, why is the Rochester People's Climate Coalition promoting this? We strongly believe this is one strategy toward a cleaner energy future. And because of this, we also want to assist going forward with advancing CCA in the Rochester area. We want to see much greater use of renewable energy and for much, if not all, of that energy to be produced through local projects. We also want to offer our services in partnership with Joule Assets to jointly fill the program administrator and program organizer roles. Joule Assets is an organization that was instrumental in forming the Westchester CCA and is providing administration services there. So they have key skills and background regarding CCA in New York. RPCC is positioned to provide the local support and community involvement needed to energize the local municipalities and consumers. Our proposal is for Joule Assets to serve as the CCA administrator while RPCC serves as the program organizer during CCA setup and the initial contract. Then, over the course of the initial contract, Joule Assets will train RPCC staff to perform both roles on subsequent contracts. If selected, RPCC and Joule will conduct the setup activities at no charge and then collect fees as a small add-on to the supply contract. If you have questions or comments about CCA or this presentation, you can contact me, Ben Frevert, at the Rochester People's Climate Coalition. My email address and the RPCC website are noted here.